Thank you so much, Lena. Is everyone excited for the Commission's first virtual event?
Yes.
Everyone's muted. All right, are you ready to renew, recharge, and reset?
Yes.
So my name is Diane Bautista, the chair of the Somerset County Commission on the Status of Women. And on behalf of all the commissioners, we are all grateful that all of you are here spending time with us this evening. And we understand how important family time, especially during this time. So thank you. Before we get started, I would like to give you some background on the commission. Our mission is to provide a platform for women to identify and address their issues and concerns. And it is our job as commissioners to develop a greater public awareness for what all of us are experiencing and highlight information and resources that can help. In doing so, we hope to enhance the quality of life for all women of Somerset County, and in turn, the whole state. During this extraordinary time, we experienced how our priorities have shifted, right? And our perceptions about life changed. We all have experienced challenges, and our future continues to be uncertain. But us, women are strong and resilient. And with this commission, women of Somerset County have the chance to connect, thrive, and empower each other. And I owe everything that I accomplished to my mom, my grandparents, and all the strong women and men who became my mentors and role models throughout my life. And I would like to pay it forward. That's why I became a part of this commission. And I am blessed to be working with all these strong, independent, and multi-talented women. I just want to give out a shout out to Miss Shelly Bell over there, our vice chair, our Miss Secretary, Miss Lena Cohen-Hawkins, our treasurer, Miss Nancy DeAndrea, our other commissioners, Karen Thomas, Melissa Harris is also on the call.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Melissa. Stella Ayala. Our freeholder, Sarah Soy. All right. And so these women would like to share their God-given talents and resources. And I would like to thank each and everyone, the entire commission, for your dedication and input for making this event a successful one. Again, this is our first virtual event. Are you ready? And lastly, before I turn it back to Lena, if you want to get updates and any info about our future events, please follow our Facebook and Instagram pages. The name is Somerset County Commission on the Status of Women. Right back to you, Lena.
Thank you so much, Diane. I just love her energy and her sunshine and her positivity. It is infectious. Thank you so much for that beautiful welcome. Now, for some of you that may be just joining us, I'm not sure if you found this event on Facebook or if you found it from a friend or on Healthier Somerset, but however you got here, welcome. So tonight we are going to talk about how we can renew our minds, recharge our body, and reset our career in our lives. This has been such a challenging time, from dealing with COVID, being in isolation. Some of us may have lost loved ones, to just the social unrest that we see happening around our world. And we really have been in a place of not knowing what's next, which can be really scary for a lot of people. So tonight we're so excited to just have this amazing, amazing panel. And I am going to introduce Dr. Maxine first. I'm going to give you a little bit about her. I'm going to read her bio, and then I'm going to let her take over. So Dr. Bradshaw is recognized among the top 100 leaders in education and mental health. Dr. Bradshaw joined the staff at Pillar College in June 2015 as the chair of traditional undergraduate psychology and counseling program and associate professor of psychology. She was promoted in 2018 to the rank of professor and advisor to the Pillar College chapter of Psi-Chi. She teaches both graduate and undergraduate students at all the campus locations and teaches in the both master's and undergraduate programs at Pillar College. That is such an amazing and stellar resume. We are so excited to have you, and I hope everyone tonight can take in a little piece of what she's got for us today. So welcome, Dr. Maxine Bradshaw. You're welcome to share your screen and talk to us a little bit about mental health today.
Okay, great. So while I start to share my screen, I just want to thank Lena for that awesome welcome that she just gave me. And I'm really privileged to be in this first virtual webinar with my co-facilitators, Shelly and Jill. I can't wait to hear what they will be sharing with us. So as we begin, I am so overwhelmed in terms of the information that I wanted to share with everyone. I have so much information that I thought if I didn't write it down, I would just go on and on and on. Hence, that's why I decided to go ahead and do a PowerPoint for each person. So, and you'll get this to be shared at the end. Every person who registered, you will be able to have a copy, especially I wrote some resources at the end that you will be able to access throughout this time. So we tend to overlook ourselves. I love the topic that it is self-care, because we are so busy taking care of everybody else that we don't understand that we are important as well. So the information that I will be sharing will have an holistic approach so that you will know how to identify the signs of stress before it occurs, and knowledge is key, because we tend to just go ahead and do what we have to do. We don't stop to complain. If something needs to be done, we just go ahead and we do it. So we are not understanding that our bodies are giving us some signs or signals that we need to stop and recharge. So we are here today to learn some practical suggestions and strategies and how to recharge and renew and revive our spirit, soul, and body. So I'm going to talk to us about the physical aspect, the social aspect, and just a little bit, because we have an expert here that will be talking about our nutritional value and the domain for that. And then to see how the spiritual and the mental is all interconnected and important if we want to maintain a positive self-care. So as I said, we will be showing you how to recognize some of the signs. So the processes of and perception of our environment and how we go about identifying the changes in the environment and coping or lack of coping, it affects our behavior and our thinking, our mental cognition, and our actions are affected by our physical state or our body state. And a lot of people are not understanding that when, for example, you have a severe pain in your body or your body is not feeling well, it affects the way you think about their situation. It affects the way you interact or engage with others. Whether you are experiencing some form of sickness or there's a pain in your body, it affects our disposition. Our belief system is also very important. Whether or not we believe that we will be okay or we will not be okay, or you feel alone or isolated. And times like these, when we are cut off from the normal things that will give us some coping relief, like church or social events or engaging in outing with our friends, it has become more compounded in the feeling of isolation leading to stress. And our perception of locus of control, whether the events that are occurring around you or within you in your environment, at home or at school, it would be under your control or not under your control. So I'll just jump right in it because I don't have a lot of time with all the information I want to share. So what are some of the signs of stress? And this, I'm giving this to you before we talk about the strategies of coping with the signs of stress, so that you will understand whether you need to pause and get some help. So whether you're feeling consistently low energy, whether they're consistent headache, upset stomach, including diarrhea, constipation, or nausea, whether they're aches, pain, and tense muscles, whether you're experiencing rapid heartbeat or chest pain, or you're not able to sleep, or you're sleeping too much, whether you have frequent cold or infections, or there's your lack of sexual desire or appetite. These are some of the signs of stress. So let me break it down and unwrap it. If you have persistent thoughts of gloom or fear, this is consistent thought that you are feeling afraid, or you seem to be feeling depressed or feeling oppressed, those are some signs that you are really under stress. If you have done some reduction in self-care, and this is so that not only you notice it, but others notice it as well, that you have not been taking care of your physical appearance. If you have loss of appetite, and this is in spite of not eating for a couple of hours or a couple of days, and this is not due to a fast, but you just don't have the desire to eat, that is a sign you're under stress. Or you're just overeating, that may be a sign that you are trying to use eating as a coping mechanism. If you're more restless than normal, if you have lack of concern, you just don't care, or you just give up. Their attitude is that I resign, there's nothing I can do, so I'll just allow whatever feeling to overwhelm me. Those are serious signs that you need to seek out help. If you're unable to control your emotion, if you're laughing inappropriately or just continuously crying, those are also signs that you're at the verge of feeling depressed or oppressed. So what are some of the self-care? And I know Diane or Lena is going to give me when it's the 5-minute mark so that I will get it going. So I'm going to focus on our self-care from the social aspect of it. And remember, I said that you have to take care of you. This is self-care, and I love the fact that we're addressing self-care. I've been on other webinars where we talk about looking into the environment and how you connect in a social environment with your colleagues, your co-workers, or your friends and your family members. But in an airplane, if there's a loss of oxygen, you have to put your mask on first before you help others. And I love the commission on the status of women, because we are nurturers by nature, and we will continue to look, even when we are the signs that I just said, even when we are seeing those obvious signs, we do not take time to reflect and recharge. So what am I saying? It's important for you to know how to take care of yourself before you can even think or consider helping others. So never, never, never lose contact with your friends or loved ones. If you find yourself wanting to be alone and want to be left alone more than normal, I'm not talking about when you want an alone time, which is good. I'm talking about typically you're an outgoing person, but you find that you have lost the love, the zeal to maintain contact. That means that you are in danger and you need to reach out and connect connect, you have to join, or you may join a virtual group or a club. There are so many that's happening now, your virtual group for book reading club, or even exercise or yoga club, that dance club, TikTok challenge or something like that, so that you stay connected. Be creative in reaching out to others. There are so many virtual parties that's going on now that you see them posted on Facebook, where individual will tell you, my mom is having a birthday. This is the hour, between the hours of 2 and 4, we're driving by, drive-by gift giving. And that's okay too, because it takes you out of the house for one, in a safe environment, and it also, you're doing something good for someone else as well. So be creative in even creating a meal, and even doing some sing-along that I've seen, so creative ways that people are doing choirs at this time. And to always maintain your social distance. It doesn't matter if you are one that believe that we don't need to wear masks or wear masks, and that this is just a figment of our imagination. What happens is that most others believe that there is some amount of danger in social contact during this pandemic. So maintain your social distance at all costs. Have an accountability partner, someone that will not only check up on you, but they will know, they will be able to lead you back to become authentic. So that person is the one that you will tell, or they will tell you that you need to restop, recharge, or just stop doing, slow down. That is important to have that person on your corner. Treat yourself. That is important. Whether it's gonna be to buy some new music, download some music, having a spa time, light some candles, get some bubble bath, have a special meal, or just carving out some alone time. And if you're like me, it takes strategy for me to get some alone time, because my phone is always going on. Sometimes my husband have to take my phone away and just unplug the computer, because I had a funeral this morning, and in the midst of that, I was counseling so many people that felt so cheated that they're not able to associate in place. So I have to carve out and find creative way to get some alone time. Okay, self-care continue. Physically, remember the signs that I told you about. If you start seeing some signs in your body that's crying out help, it means that you need to continuously monitor your bodily changes and do something about it. To physically take care of yourself, get a new hairdo, buy a new wig, get some rest. And I don't mean go to bed early, because many of us during this time, we go to bed, but we never sleep. We don't sleep. Our minds are going 100 miles per hour, and we have brought the worries of the world into the solace of our bed. So sleep and rest. Make those a priority. Take safety precaution. 5 minutes. Okay, give yourself a hug and keep abreast of your medication. Do your deep breathing and relaxation, and check in with your physician, and also decide if you're going to dress for work. Many of us are working from home, or just lounge in your pajamas. That's what works for you. So if you need help, seek help. And we're going to share this PowerPoint with you. Validate your feeling and continue to motivate yourself as well. So monitor your track your thought. If your thought continues to go down, remember that's another warning sign that you have to do something about it. During this time, there are so many free courses that's going on. So learn a new language or a new instrument, and keep abreast of the professional or your educational requirement, because you don't want to fall behind. I'm almost done. Thank you. So spiritually, and many people leave out that aspect, but now the researchers are finding out that faith and religion is as effective in reducing stress, depression, and anxiety as any mental health treatment. So make sure that you make that spiritual connection. Prayer and meditation, positive confession or affirmation. I can do this. I am. Especially when you continuously hear negative things about your behavior, your action, or who you are. If nobody encourages yourself, you have to encourage yourself. You have to love yourself and learn that you are not the answer for for everybody's problem. Know when to say no. And the best way to say no, I'm going to teach you this, is to say, I hear you and your need, but I am not the person at this time that's set aside to help you. But I'm sure you will find that person who will help you. And I'll pray that the Lord will lead you to that person who will help you. Okay, so be kind to yourself. Say it in love to let go. Sing and dance. Do some hard work. Stay positive. The nutritional one, I'm happy that Jill is going to say that, but drink a lot of water, monitor your weight, and do not overeat. Set goals that you want to set. This is a link to one of the articles that I've written about how to cope in a COVID-19 environment, and it's on the Wapila College website as well. And these are some of the resources. The self-care solution, a year of becoming happier, healthier, and fitter. And this one I want to emphasize, Ms. Latrice Smith has used her own experience to define her own path. And we have utilized this book in many of our counseling sessions, and we have rave reviews about it. And here you have the link to it to order your own copy. Don't copy it and give it to someone. Each person should have their own copy as well. Now, this is free mental health online training, and this is the link. And you're certified as a mental health assessor by the state of New Jersey, and the certificate is valid for 3 years. And here we have the suicide hotline number. Didn't think that I would, because we find that there's an increase and a rise in suicide at this time. Here's another book as well. And the next slide, I wanted to leave this. This is a slide you need to copy and do your meditation on. It's a scene at a Negril beach in Jamaica. Just copy it and put it in your link, and you will hear the water, the blue Caribbean Sea. And I'm sure it has helped me so often in terms of doing that. These are the references that I use today. And if you need to contact me, you can contact me on Facebook, Instagram, or by email, and these are the way to do that. And now, I don't know if there were any questions that were typed in.
We are definitely going to open it up for questions. Please do not unmute yourself. If you have questions, feel free to type them into the chat box. But Dr. Maxine, I just want to say kudos to you and thank you so much. I think that oftentimes we forget that our mental health has all of these components, right? It's not just how we think or how we feel, but you talked about the social aspect of it. You talked about the spiritual aspect of it. You talked about the physical aspect of it, and all of those things together, make up how we feel mentally. So thank you so much. I appreciate that.
And I just want to say one thing, Lena, that our fear and anxiety compromises our immune system as well. So that's why they're all interconnected, and it's important to take care of yourself mentally.
Absolutely. So one thing I would like to put out there is you talked a lot about when we begin to feel down, or we start to have negative thoughts, or we begin to have negative feelings. What are some of the things that we can do to begin to shift those thoughts or shift those feelings so that we can begin to feel better mentally?
That's a good question, and I get that question a lot. And one of the things that we have to learn is how to disengage and start our day again. And that's so say you wake up in the morning and something bad happened. You hear bad news, and that's 7 o'clock in the morning. You cannot allow something that happened early in the morning to dictate your entire day. You have to make a conscious decision that you are going to rethink that situation and see the best or the good that would come out of that situation. That's one of the easiest way to change your mood from there. And just have a grateful heart. And that always works. Just have a spirit of gratitude when you always see the best in the situation. If you don't, you will forever be struggling with depression.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bradshaw. You also said something that I often struggle with, which is to say no. A lot of times as women, as caregivers, as mothers, neighbors, aunties, godmoms, especially in this time where we feel like we have to take care of everybody and we have to do everything and we have to say yes. How do we really find that power, or how do we find that motivation and inspiration or just empowerment within ourselves to be able to say no when our cup isn't full?
I love that as well. So you have to know your limitation. And when you know your limitation, you know what part you can do and what you cannot do. So once you recognize that, and that's continuously self-assessment to know what are your resources, what you need and what you don't need, and to be committed to self-care. Self-care means I'm not going to put myself in danger, in stress, so that someone else will not take care of what they are supposed to do. So, and then just learning, practicing to say no. And remember, I just told you how to do it. That I know that you need help right now, but I really believe I am not that person that's designed to help you at this time, because I'm just not able or capable of helping you. But, you know, I will seek out different strategies or resources together to help you. And if that's not the case, maybe you have to be creative in finding a solution for yourself. But don't feel guilty when you say no.
Thank you so much. And we do have a question in the chat. It says, what are ways to stop ruminating on things when you wake up in the middle of the night?
Okay, one of the best way to do it is first to turn the TV off. Do it and to try listening. When it's time for sleeping, it's time for sleeping. Don't take the book. Downtime, have some downtime. And then I'm just count, if you count your blessing, it stop your ruminating on whatever it is. Just start thinking of all the ways you're going to be blessed, or you are blessed so far, and though you were delivered or healed, or just find a way to see how you can take care of yourself without borrowing the problem, the trouble, the issue of the next day. So it's just a day at a time. And some people say a minute at a time. We used to say an hour at a time, but now it's just a minute at a time. So just do that. And if you get up and find yourself that you're not able to sleep, which happened to me, I have a book at the side of my bed that I start journaling in that book as well. And your journal, your thoughts could be your next book, your next bestseller.
All right, now that's a whole nother lesson, Dr. Bradshaw. And then I guess we'll close with this one last question. I'll just make sure nobody else has any questions before I'll go to this last one. Okay, so you talked about validating your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think oftentimes we run from the negative feelings instead of really acknowledging them, accepting them, and then moving through the process. So can you talk a little bit more about why it's important to validate your feelings during this time?
Exactly. And we have to understand that not all fear is bad. You have good fear and you have bad fear. When a car comes crashing down towards you when you're trying to cross the road, and the fear of being hit, you energize your body for action, that is a good fear. When you are procrastinated and you only have the last day to do your assignment, and that fear kicks in and energizes you to do it, that's a good fear to have as well. When it becomes oppressive is when it's continuous and you get a feeling of hopelessness. So, but it's okay to have those feelings initially. What you do with these feelings, what it would determine your positive or negative mental health, whether it's become psychotic or whether you need a more professional help than just doing the self-care strategies that we have, talking to a friend, or you need professional help. So it's important to understand that you are not alone. You won't be the first or the last person to feel the way you're feeling at this time, and reach out and talk to someone if the feeling just won't go away.
Thank you so much, Dr. Maxine. So we are going to wrap up with mental health and renewing our minds. And as Dr. Maxine said, be kind to yourself. Give yourself a little freedom. Do the things that you love, sing, dance, and make sure we can't surround ourselves with the people that we love in proximity, but get on a Zoom call. Make sure if you have, she talked about having accountability. Do you have a group chat with your best friends? Do you have a favorite cousin that you can call once a week and just talk about, anything, so that you're not holding anything in? So those were so many good nuggets. I know I'm still working on a few myself and trying to maintain during this crazy time, but we're super excited to have you. Thank you so much. And as a reminder, if you registered for this webinar, you will definitely get the slides and all of the information that Dr. Maxine shared with us this evening. So thank you so much, Dr. Maxine.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now we are on to how we can recharge our body with Jill. So I'm going to give you guys a little background on Jill, and then I will turn it over to her. So Jill was born and raised in New Jersey and received her bachelor's degree from Hofstra University, where she also played 4 years of Division I soccer. She then went on to earn her doctorate degree in physical therapy from Mount St. Joseph University in 2015. Following her collegiate soccer career, she also played women's rugby at the regional, state, and national level. Woo, go Jill! Her professional career started with Kessler Rehabilitation Center, where she managed a clinic and developed interest in the area of sports and orthopedics, as well as pelvic health. Jill completed a residency program in orthopedics through Select Medical in 2018 and has aspirations of completing the orthopedic certified specialist exam. She has also focused her professional development in the areas of pelvic floor dysfunction through Herman and Wallace Pelvic Rehabilitation Institute. I personally love Jill. She's super amazing. I love everybody at the Physical Therapy Center of Excellence. It's where I personally have gone for my rehab, and I can tell you her personality is amazing. We are super excited to have her today. I'm looking forward to this information because it's very tough to stay fit, stay motivated, stay active, and eat healthy in this time. So I'm looking forward to what Jill has. So welcome, Jill, and thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you, Lena. I miss you a lot too, by the way. And we'll see if I have a good personality. The jury's out. I'm just meeting all of you guys. So I don't use Zoom a lot. I'm a physical therapist, so I'm not super techie. I'm gonna try and share a screen. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We're gonna give it our best shot though. So let's share this. Then it's this. Okay. Did it work?
Yes, it did.
Awesome. So it's really just a PDF, and I'm sure we sent it out to all of you guys as well. If there's any questions, it'd be easier to visualize it when we're talking about it. So I'm going to pull it up. So quick little introduction about what I'm going to talk about. If there's anything that we now understand from this whole pandemic COVID mini nightmare that we've lived through, is how important it is to take responsibility for our own health and our daily actions, right? Like there have been so much proof that if we can curb our comorbidities and take care of ourselves when something like this happens with any disease, not just COVID, we will be better prepared to fight this and to heal from it and to move forward with our lives. So just decreasing risk of illness in general is really what I'm going to talk about today in the corner of fitness and good nutrition. So I want to scroll a little bit. This is for anyone to take notes. It's not a big deal. Okay, so the sickness, wellness, fitness continuum. I think this is really important. It's something that I look at every day to give myself a personal reminder of why I exercise and why I work out. So sickness on one end, fitness on the other, wellness in the middle. So take a minute and think about where you fall on this continuum. And it's measurable, right? Think about your blood pressure, your body fat, your bone density, your flexibility, whatever. etc. Right? So I want you to be honest with yourself and see where you land on this. Are you closer to fitness? Are you closer to sickness? So think, if you're right in the middle at wellness and you got sick right now, it would knock you backwards towards sickness. If you were up closer to fitness and you got sick, it would knock you backwards, but it wouldn't put you nearly as close to sickness as it would if you were further down that spectrum. So putting yourself in a better position. So if and when you do have an injury or get sick, you're not going to fall so far down that spectrum that you can't bounce back. So that, I want to talk more about, sorry, let me scroll up. I want to talk more about this plate visual that I put up here. So I'm not a nutritionist. I've studied a lot of nutrition, and I've seen a lot of nutritionists and researched with a lot of them. And this is the best way of looking at food and looking at fuel and looking at calories that I've learned so far. So I wanted to share it with you guys. The number one thing with nutrition and fitness is, what can you be consistent with? What can you be consistent with? What's sustainable? And what is enablement, right? We don't want to disable you. We don't want to say, I can't have pizza. I can't have waffles. I can't have chocolate, because that's a disablement model. And that's never going to make anyone successful. So I like to think more of an enablement model. What can we do? What can we have? What can we experience? So looking at the plate visual, this is a plate visual that will allow you to lose weight. If you want to maintain weight, this is even. You can have even thirds of protein, grains, and vegetables. I put this one up because, you know, I have a wedding coming up and hopefully I'll try and lose some weight one of these days. But anyway, so half of your plate should be healthy fruits and vegetables. A quarter of it should be protein. A quarter of it should be whole grains. Don't worry about counting the calories. Don't worry about what is your protein source. Is it beef? Is it chicken? Is it fish? Whatever it is, make it a good protein source, right? And look at your plate visual. So you go out to pizza with your family. I do all the time, or nowadays we're ordering it in, but we order in pizza. If you want a piece of pizza, go for it. But also try and have salad and chicken with that pizza and make your plate look really even. So if you want to have another piece of pizza, go for it. Just make sure you're also having salad and chicken on that plate. I guarantee you're not going to make it to 6 pieces of pizza if you're making that plate even and eating those nutrients evenly. So a little bit on nutrients without getting too much into the science of it, because it's really not even worth it. Macronutrients, there's 3 of them: protein, fats, and carbohydrates, right? So those are the 3 things we want to make sure that we're eating throughout the day in every meal. Carbohydrates, fats, and proteins, they're the building block to energy in our bodies, and they're the building block to nourishing our brains. If we don't eat those 3 things, those fats, carbohydrates, and proteins, we won't be able to think clearly, and that's when we start getting depressed, getting tired. People try and cut carbs a lot. It's the first place your body pulls energy from, is from carbohydrates. Don't cut out those carbs. They're incredibly important for your brain. So plate visuals, macronutrients, those are my 2 biggest take-homes as far as nutrition goes. It doesn't have to be ugly. You don't have to count. It doesn't have to be difficult. Just make sure you're visualizing what you're eating and try and keep it really even. So exercise is really more of my forte. I'm a physical therapist. I personal trained also. I love exercise. I personally exercise every single day. Well, 6 days a week. But let me tell you, my workouts are maybe 10 minutes long. My long workouts are 30 minutes long. I'll wake up in the morning and give 10, 15 minutes devoted to exercise, and then I move on with my day. And that's all it takes. So again, we want to look at what's going to be consistent. Consistency is key. If I take one person, that a mom of 2, right, or mom of 3 under 5, and they work out for 10 minutes a day for 10 minutes for 5 days a week for a year, and then you take another woman, mother of 3 under 5, and they work out 1 hour a day per month for a year, who's going to have better results? The person who's working out 10 minutes for 5 days a week for the whole year is going to have more health benefits than the person who's putting in an hour or 2 at a time, but maybe once a month. So what can we be sustainable with? And you want to be doing more than nothing. That goes back to being like, oh my gosh, I only have 3 minutes before I have to be on a Zoom call, right? Let's do 20 air squats or 20 lunges or 20 sit to stands. Let's see how many sit to stands we can do in 2 minutes, right? That's more than nothing. And that's what we're shooting for. We don't need to have a crazy workout plan. We don't need to be drawn to these fit tees, skinny tees. Those things are not going to give you the results you want. The only thing that will is consistency and really finding what makes you happy and sustainable for you. Finding what you enjoy is extremely important. Do you like running? I personally don't. You can't see me run. If you see me running down the street one day, I'm running from something. So you don't have to do something that you don't enjoy. Do you like lifting weights? That's beautiful. Lift weights. Do you like doing yoga? That's perfect. Do yoga. It doesn't matter what the activity is. Raise your heart rate and devote a few minutes of your day to exercise every day. Okay. So I want to look a little bit at this template that I'm giving everybody. So these are a bunch of exercises, and I group them into lower body movements. All of them require no equipment and can be done at home. Core movements, cardiovascular movements. So you have 3 different categories that you can choose from, and then this is the workout, right? So you choose a cardio movement, you do it for 45 seconds, you rest for 15. Lower body, same thing. Core movement, same thing. You can do that once through, or you can repeat it 2 to 4 times. You can repeat it 10 times. I don't know if you'd want to, but one time through is maybe about 10 to 12 minutes of exercise. And I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be hard. Pick different exercises. Pick ones that you think are within your wheelhouse, something that you can do comfortably. If any of these you can't do comfortably because they're giving you pain, then come see me. We'll fix your pain, right? That's a whole nother conversation for another day. But there's so many different things that you can do with your body with no equipment in your home. Doesn't matter who's watching, with shoes, without shoes, does not matter, okay? So this is something if you're sitting home one day and you want to get yourself moving, but you just can't think of an exercise to do, here it is. It's already created for you. Pick out your movements, put on an egg timer and get it, hit it. So I'm gonna wrap up. I think I'm still on time.
Yeah.
Awesome. So to wrap it up, I'm kind of going to reiterate what Dr. Bradshaw said here, but have patience and have perseverance, right? Everything takes both. So you have to be patient with yourself, but you also have to persevere. No one's going to save you except you. So let's all start saving ourselves. Give yourself the time to see change, but persevere when it gets difficult, right? The definition, this is really losery, but the definition of patience: accepting and tolerating delay or suffering without getting angry or upset. I'm horrible at that, right? So that's something that I have to work on. Perseverance, doing something difficult despite the difficulty or the delay in achieving it. That is literally the definition of setting a goal with exercise. I want to lose 40 pounds. It's going to take a long time. It's 100% going to take a long time. And you're going to have days where you eat an entire chocolate cake, and that is fine. The next day you won't. If you lose it one day, that is not a death sentence. Start again the next day. That consistency is key. It doesn't have to be perfect every day. Be as consistent as you can be. The last thing is, I'm talking to a group of women here. This is something that I feel like every woman that tries to really take care of themselves physically and mentally has to hear: you are doing enough and you are enough. Period. If you are working out for 3 minutes in between washing dishes and changing diapers, whatever it is that you do at home, that is enough. You have devoted a portion of your day to exercise and your health and well-being, and that is 100% enough, and you will see results with that. Just stay consistent. And that's it. You're doing awesome.
Wow. Thank you.
Stop share. Oh, stop share. That's the button. Okay.
You are doing enough and you are enough. Wow. Can we all just let that resonate for a minute? You are doing enough and you are enough. I think when we begin to look at fitness goals and we start to, we body shame ourselves and we compare ourselves and we get down on ourselves, then the fitness goal always looks so far away. And I think what Jill brought to us today is that it doesn't require so much. Find what you like, find what you enjoy, find where you can be consistent. I love the fact that she said, she works out 10 minutes a day on a
Hey
bad
girl, look at
day,
this.
30
Stop.
minutes a day, 30 minutes a day on a good day.
Tops.
So I think that's really, really vital and key for people to know and understand, is that you don't have to be in the gym for 2 hours, 5 days a week in order to get results. I've always heard that, you know, it's 80% of it is what you eat. Please correct me if I'm wrong, Jill.
Very much so, it is. But I feel like people take that to such an extent where they feel like they have to eat clean, organic food all the time for every meal. And if they slip up, they've ruined themselves.
Yeah.
And that's just not the case. If you eat an apple and you eat a donut and they both have 100 carbohydrates, your body can't really tell the difference what carbohydrates are coming from what. If it's coming from an apple or if it's coming from a donut. So if you decide that your snack that day is going to be a donut, don't make it maybe 10 donuts, make it a donut. Your body's going to use the carbs in the same way. Of course, there are better choices, right? And most of the time, we're going to try and make those choices. Most of the time, we're going to wake up and make a shake for ourselves and not waffles. But on a Sunday, maybe I'm going to have the waffles, and that's fine. That doesn't mean I'm setting myself back to the beginning. That means I'm a human and that I'm balanced, and that's okay.
Yeah. So someone asked, when it comes to protein, beans, tofu, and seitan, are they good choices?
So they are good choices. Scientifically, technically, the better choices are obviously our animal proteins. They have higher quality protein in them, but a lot of people don't eat them. Tofu is a fantastic source of protein, so are beans and nuts. So there's nothing wrong with those. They just have a little bit less protein in them. So sometimes you have to eat a little bit more in order to get the protein that your body requires. I believe there's a farro rice is also a grain that has pretty high protein in it. So if you are vegetarian, that's a good one to check out as well. And quinoa has protein in it as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Also, with the chart that you gave, so that people can have a good idea of how to put together, like if they want to create their own workout with that chart that you gave, how many different exercises would you recommend that they pick from there? And then, guys, she only said 45 seconds for each one.
And honestly, I'm not gonna lie, when I was making that, I was like, that's kind of long. If you want to do 30 and 30, start with what you can do. You don't want to say you're doing 45 seconds but end up standing around for 30 of it anyway. Work hard for the amount of time that you're working. So you can do that anyway. If you want to take 3 exercises, 1 lower body, 1 core, 1 cardio, and repeat them throughout the whole workout, that's fine. Or you can pick 7 different ones and mix it up. Might be a little bit more fun that way. Or you can do it one way one day and another way the other day. That's absolutely fine too. So it's really just whatever you want to pick and choose.
Excellent.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. So also remember, guys, if you registered, that means we have your email address and you will definitely get the charts for sure. Okay, does anybody else have any other questions about recharging and physical fitness or nutrition? I personally would like to know, where do we find the motivation, right? Because we've been home, we've been inside, we've been working from home. Like Dr. Maxine said, we may be in our pajamas half the day.
Amen.
Where do we find the motivation if we've fallen off of our normal routine of walking or exercising? The gyms are closed. We can't go to yoga. We can't do the things that we normally do. And I know in my circle, a lot of women are talking about just being in a rut and not really having motivation to work out the way they used to.
Sure. So for me, and I've been there, I think everyone's been there, right? A lot of times exercise is not necessarily something we enjoy. It's something we feel that we have to do because we know it's good for us. And personally, this is not coming from any sort of research. Personally, I've turned away from the word motivation. I don't look for motivation anymore because a lot of times I know that that's not going to come. Motivation is not what gets me to exercise every day. What gets me to exercise is consistency. Getting up and knowing that I have to be consistent. Getting up and saying, if I do this for 10 minutes, then I'm consistent. I've done more than nothing. So trying to search for the consistency rather than searching for the motivation. Because a lot of time the motivation is not going to be there. The drive to be consistent will create the habit, and then you won't need to search for motivation. Does that make sense?
Wow, that's very powerful.
So like, this is my water bottle. So this is what I live by. Like, this is what I live by. This is what I do. I've been an athlete my entire life, and I'm probably the healthiest I've ever been because this is my model, right? Let's not abuse ourselves. Let's find what we can manage and be proud of what our bodies are doing every single day.
And I think that's great. I think the whole concept of like something is better than nothing, you know, makes you feel good, you know, like you, even if you said, okay, I'm going to get out and just walk around the block 3 times, like that's something. Or,
Absolutely.
you know, if you're going to do sit-ups, or if you're going to do 45 seconds of one of these exercises that you get from Jill,
Right.
something is better than nothing. So thank you so much for that, Jill. We greatly appreciate it.
Awesome.
Thank you so
You
much.
got it, guys.
Okay, guys. So we are moving along here. I'm really proud of us. This is like a great webinar. People are enjoying themselves. I see people in the chat. This is really great information. So thank you guys so much for joining us. So we've talked a little bit about how we can renew our minds and our thought process and our emotions during this time. We talked about how we can recharge our bodies and focus on nutrition and fitness, which I didn't even talk about that scale of fitness and sickness. That was such a great visual. So thank you so much for that. And now we're going to move on to resetting. I know that for a lot of people right now, they may have lost opportunities, lost jobs. They may have suffered a lot of loss, and we're just trying to figure out, like, where do we go from here? Whether it's our careers, whether we're resetting different opportunities that we're looking forward to having in the future. And we're just totally blessed to have Miss Shelly Bell, who is our vice chair. An amazing life coach. I call her when I need her, and I'm like, Shelly, how do I need help with this? And she's always willing to listen and just give great wisdom and advice. So Shelly, let me give you your flowers and read your bio. All right, so Miss Shelly Bell. Shelly Bell is an energetic spirit who is most often described as a people person. This is true. She has an infectious smile and jovial personality. She is the founder of Happy Academy, Inc., where she helps women to redesign success and reclaim the passion, purpose, and balance you lost along the way. She takes ambitious professional women who've grown bored, burnt out, or unfulfilled in their careers, personal life, and she helps them create their own happiness, be it radical change in their career, starting a new business, or bringing a big idea to life. Shelly's mission is to equip women everywhere to discover, design, and get highly paid to do the work that they love. So Shelly, thank you so much for joining us. You guys, don't worry, you guys are going to see lots of Miss Shelly Bell as we continue to do events. We're excited to have her, and really just, I'm looking forward to learning how we can reset during this time and really have a positive outlook towards the future.
Thank you. Thank you so much, my commissioner, my sister commissioner, Lena, to all my commissioners who are here. Thank you so much. To our freeholder, Sarah, to our co-facilitators, and the fabulous women in the community who have joined us. Woohoo! So we are so happy that you're all decided to join us. And we're going to talk a little bit about reset. That word alone, right, when you hear it, right, means to adjust or to start something over. And I don't know about you, but for me, as I begin to move into this new season, it's important that we take time, right, to do a self-reflection and to reset. And here's the truth, ladies. Normally, right, first culprit here, we're moving so fast, right, and we're just trying to keep up that we don't have the space to consider if we're going where we should be going or if we're stuck, regardless of the challenges that you face this year, you can decide right here, right now in this moment to press reset. So when I think about reset, I want to share 3 things with you. Okay, let's see. Can you see that?
Yep.
3 words: pause, pivot, and plan. When I look at pause, I want you to rediscover who you are. And when we look at pivot, to pay attention to daily habits, and plan, to think about how to reset your career, to think about how to move forward in your entrepreneurial spirit. I can say this for certainty. In 2019, in the spirit of transparency, I made some big plans for 2020. I had New Year's resolutions filled on my calendars. I created vision boards, not knowing what was coming next. No one knew that all our lives were going to be flipped upside down. Between COVID-19, schools being closed, being on lockdown for months, wearing a mask, police brutality, right? Racial trauma, protests around the country, these past 7 months have been challenging, to say the least. Would you all agree? By show of hands, would you all agree?
Yeah.
So my desire today is to bring hope and strategies to this conversation, with us focusing, looking at the 5 months left in this year and getting ready for 2021. At any time, let me also say that, you can start over and you can begin your life with the greatest sense of clarity and purpose, regardless of what mistakes or whatever challenges you may have faced. But now is the time for us to just take a pause and reset. So let's delve a little deeper into that. When we talk about taking a pause, right? Looking at each area and determining if we're stuck in the past, or have a truthful conversation with yourself and say, how did I get here? Pause will allow you to get grounded and rooted in the present moment, so you can make wise choices personally and professionally. When we look at pivot, I know for me, I had to eliminate some behaviors that were holding me back and keeping me from being happy, right? When we say pivot, it's tapping into the possibility of how you could act, move, and choose from here. So instead of reacting or creating overwhelmness, right? You can be intentional about your next direction. Oftentimes, I often say the worst thing in the world is to be excited about your journey and not enjoy your destination. We need to take time and be engaged and be in the moment. And when I say plan, get clear about your goals for the future, right? But what does that mean? That means refocus your energy and resources for the short term and midterm, so you will have what you need to be sustained and continue to achieve your goals and your desires. And so when I look at this, right, and say, okay, Shelly, where do we go from here, right? And my hope is that you would commit to resetting yourself. That means what tools, right? Have a conversation at a different level. How do you change habits? How do I begin to plan? How do you move and ask yourself how to pause, pivot, and plan? Dr. Maxine talked a little bit about it earlier. She said journaling. I'm an advocate when it comes to journaling, right? And so that requires that you just take a Selah moment, just sit down and write it out. What are your daily habits? What things do you want to change? Write those things down. What kind of plans do you want to have? What about your strengths and challenges? Do you have a budget? Do you need a budget? Are your legal documents in place for your family? Do you have a will, a DNR? Those are some important questions when we have an opportunity to sit down and pause and reflect, right? And then when you say, okay, what about my career? When we talk about resetting our career, do you have a vision for your career, a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan? You know, what about starting your own business? What does that look like? You know, in order to craft your skill set, in order to take it up a notch, what are some of the things that you need to do? And so when I think about that, right, I want to provide you with some resources or suggestions that I believe may help you. I personally listen to motivational contacts on social media, but I'm mindful of my time, you know, when I'm on social media, right? Because when you do that, there are other avenues, right? You can get spiritual motivation, you know, and it's a resource. You can have a conversation at a different level. And so when you're having a conversation, right, at a different level, you have to ask yourself, who are you listening to? And who are you going to have a conversation with? Pause, Selah moment. There is a plethora of resources out there. I don't know how many of you know or heard of the book called Know Your Value. Oftentimes, we don't do any of these things. We don't pause, we don't pivot, and we don't plan because we don't know our value. We don't know who we are. We don't know our self-worth. The author of that book is Micah Brzezinski. There's another resource I want to leave with you. Cameron Adams, called Stay in Your Lane. I would like to suggest that you really take time to sit down, invest in a journal, you know, start writing everything down. And then when we talk about reset, it's about making a reinvestment in yourself. So some things that I'm telling you are for you to plan because it's going to cost you some money. There are coaching groups out there, but the question is, even with all of that, right? You have to say to yourself, I am going to reset and I am going to be intentional about it. And that's making an investment in yourself. You have to know that you are worth that, right? And the question comes, you know, and I think Lena pointed out to it, right? Or Dr. Bradshaw, you know, when you're a caregiver, when you're a spouse, you know, you're in a part, you have a relationship, right? You're a parent, whatever that looks like. You have to ask yourself, in order for me to reset, where am I at on the list? We all have a list. And that list is comprised of children and elder care and ministry. And if you're like me, because we want to we want to be do-gooders, right? And oftentimes we really don't know how to say no. You find yourself not listed on your own list. So you need to reset there and put yourself on the list after whomever I would say you follow spiritually, right? Because here's the truth of the matter. If your life doesn't matter, that means you're not taking care of yourself. And in order to reset, you have to take care of yourself. So I leave you with a quote, one of my favorite quotes by the late Dr. Maya Angelou. And she said, if you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude. Thank you so much. And I'll turn it back over to Lena.
Wow, 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 wow. What a way to close this webinar. Thank you so much, Shelly. I think that the first thing that resonated with me was to put yourself on the list. To put yourself on the list. This entire webinar is about self-care. And so often, as I said with Dr. Bradshaw, we may be on the list, but we may be way down here somewhere. Our nutrition, our physical fitness may be way down here somewhere. Our mental health, our you know, taking the time to journal, taking the time to meditate, Dr. Bradshaw shared the link of just sitting down and meditating and just, taking in the sounds of, she said the cool breeze of the birds or something, and Shelly talked about the power of pausing. There's so much going on right now, but how often do we have an opportunity to really pause and say, where am I on this list of priorities? Where is my health on this list of priorities? Where is, my mental health check? Where is my time for reflection on this list of priorities? And we don't do it often enough. So I want to open it up for questions. I saw a lot of chatter in the chat room for your section, Shelly. Thank you so much for that. And as I get ready for questions, oh, look at that. They're sharing the book pages. Excellent. I'll put the books. Shelly, you can send me the books. I'll put them in the email as well so that everyone can have them. Lots of great, so refreshing, reset and put yourself on the list. Such a great presentation. Again, check our priorities. This is great info. So you mentioned a couple things that I want to touch on as we wrap up, because we're at about 7:10. We'll go till about 7:15 and then we'll close up. You said that you can always start over. And I think that that's so powerful. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because I know for myself, as conferences started to get canceled, as events started to get canceled, I started to, get worried because I'm a speaker by trade. So a lot of my speaking gigs were canceled, and I started looking like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? This is my livelihood here. And I'm sure that everyone may feel that way. But I think I had to shift my perspective, right? Because even though things were canceled, other opportunities eventually came. So how can we really shift our perspective and really understand that just because these things are happening doesn't mean that it's the end all be all, that we can always start over?
So it starts with your mindset. It starts with shifting the way you think. See, our mind is powerful, right? And so we have to, everything that we want is inside of us, right? So we have a responsibility to tap into that creativity and use our creative juices to manifest it, because this is the new normal. Business as usual, conferences in person, right? May happen a little later on down the road, but you have to sit down and take time and pause and say, what can I do now? How can I get the message out now? This is a great space. This is a great platform. But that only happens when you're able to relax your mind and sit down and really be intentional about concentrating on how you want to move forward.
Yeah, that was the second thing I was going to mention. You mentioned the power of being intentional and having a vision for what it is that you want to do. I think this time has kind of struck us because, we all had plans for 2020. We all had New Year's resolutions, and we all did vision boards, and they kind of got swept away with COVID and all of these things that happened. So talk to us a little bit about how we can reset that vision and kind of start over with, having excitement about the future, even though it may not feel that exciting because we don't know what's going on.
I'll share a nugget with you. For me, during this time, I have an option. I can either sit around and be depressed and eat a box of donuts, Jill, which I'm not. I'm coming to you after all of this is over. Or I can stay in a posture, hear me, I can stay in a posture of appreciation and say, here where I'm going, and say, you know what? I am grateful, right, that I live in a development, and I'm grateful that I have hot running water to wash my hands when I come in. When you're in a posture of appreciation, you begin to become content. So you're not focusing on those other things, right? And so that it all, as I mentioned, it all starts in the mind. It's about how it's your perception, right? And then you have to, and I said this earlier, you have to be cognizant of who you're listening to, who you're having a conversation with. that is critical as well.
Absolutely. Dr. Bradshaw talked about that as well. Just being in a place of gratitude, that really helps. Like if we can even start our day with focusing on 10 things that we're grateful for, 10 things that we appreciate, 10 things that or reasons why, you know, we're still here and we're still, some of us are still working and we have a home and we have food. I work for the state as well. So I'm talking to people all the time who are struggling and they're on unemployment and they don't have the same access to food or housing. And that right there is something to be appreciative for, right? Is to be grateful for. And that can give you that insight and that gratitude to say, you know what? I can do this. I can start over. I am blessed. And, you know, we can, you know, I'm going to make it through this. So thank you so much. Let's see if we have any other questions. Who's this? Catherine says, I journal and do affirmations and a gratitude list every day after I wake up. Then I exercise. All self-care. It sets me up for a great day. Absolutely. Kudos.
Yes.
And that's amazing. You know, and that's a part of what Shelly talked about, right? So in under pivot, she talked about what is your daily plan? What are your daily habits? What are the things that you want to change? It's not enough for us to just look and reflect, right? So after we pause and we do that self-reflection, what is it that we want to change? How do we want to grow? What are some daily habits? Like Jill was saying, maybe it's not motivation we're searching for, but what can we do? What can we change and be consistent at it? You know, those little teeny things, the daily things that we do when we first get up will make a huge difference, will make a huge difference in the outcome of your thoughts, of what you project, the energy that you project out to everyone else, whether it be your job, your family, your kids, your relatives, your neighbors, or whoever else. And it will have a huge impact on the way your career goes as well. So, you know, maybe we can all take a step back and say, hey, what are those little daily things that I need to change, that I need to do to shift this energy in my life? So we are already at 7:16, guys. This has been truly amazing. We were up to a little over 50 participants, which I think is amazing for our very first event. So I want to thank everybody who took this time. Like Diane said, we know that you all have families, we know that you have kids, and we know that this is dinner time, or this is wind down time, or this is I've been at work all day and I'm ready to just relax on my couch time. So we're super excited and happy that you all decided to come and spend some time with Somerset County Commission on the Status of Women. Our goal, as Diane said, is just to continue to bring you guys resources and information in hopes that we can address any issues that are currently going on in our community. And we want to really open up the lines of communication. Visit us on our Facebook page so we can know what information you need, so we can know what resources you need, so we can know how we can help and how we can further develop and grow our community. So I want to thank all of our panelists today. Dr. Bradshaw, you were absolutely amazing. I'm taking nuggets and I will be sending out your information. She had a lot of great resources on those last slides, so don't take that for granted, guys. Jill, thank you so much. You're super amazing. I cannot wait to come back and see you. I'm gonna call and book my appointment, but make sure, again, even if it's 2 or 3 of those exercises that she put in there, do those 30 to 45 minutes second. Be mindful of your plate. I saw in the comments somebody said, wow, that's a beautiful plate. And I always say, make sure that you're eating all of the colors of the rainbow. You know, that's how I trick my nieces into like eating their fruits and vegetables. You put a bunch of stuff on there that's bright colors. And I always say, make sure you're eating your rainbow. And I saw someone else said something like that in the comments. And Shelly really helping us to take a step back and pause and reflect, pivot, make the appropriate changes, and really plan. What is the plan? What is the vision? Are you moving with intent? Are you intentional about your goals, about your desires, about your dreams, about your plans, about your fitness, about your mental health? Are you being intentional? None of this stuff just happens. We don't just wake up and it poof is there. We have to be intentional about the things that we want to do, how we want our life to unfold, and we have to be intentional about self-care. So thank you all so much. I'm gonna open it up. I just wanna make sure I don't want anybody to feel left out. I wanna thank all of the participants, but I just wanna look. Diane has put our email. She's put our Facebook up. Let's see, a couple of people put the books. So I will make sure that if you registered for this, that means we have your email. You'll get all of the resources from today. And please, 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 I think what I'm gonna do is maybe on our Facebook page, if you guys enjoyed anything that you heard from tonight, if you took a nugget, if you took any source of information that you feel that you can utilize, please go to our Facebook page and drop a post and just put, you know, hashtag self-care so we can take that information. We want to hear from you guys. We want to know what you thought of today's webinar. And we want to be able to utilize that information, some of your quotes, and let people know this is what's going on in Somerset County. We're providing great information, great resources, and we'll also be posting the video for anyone who missed it that was on the list. So we are closing a little early. Does anybody from the team, Diane, would you like to come back on? Well, let me, before I get to Diane, panelists, does anybody want to close with anything before we wrap up? Let's start with Dr. Bradshaw.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I really had so much fun presenting, and the practical and simple suggestion, I'm very impressed, and I'm going to implement some. Tonight, I'm having pizza, salad, and chicken. Okay, thank you, Jill.
Amen.
Thank you, Jill. I wanted to just remind everyone that you have to be your biggest cheerleader.
That's right.
You have to be that person. Don't wait for someone to validate you. You have to be the one to encourage yourself and to cheer on yourself and see the end goal in your life as well. If things have happened in the past, that does not determine who you will become later on, and use that as an experience to move on, to grow and evolve. And also remember, it's steady and sure, not fast to crash. Just the consistency that we all talked about. So God bless you. I love it.
You
Thank
guys
you for
have
having me.
some lines tonight. I mean, I love it. Jill, any closing words?
I mean, I had a blast too. It was great. Thank you so much, Lena, for thinking of me for this. And I mean, my two nuggets, I think from Dr. Bradshaw was definitely how to disengage. Remember to disengage. Don't let something ruin your whole day. That really resonated with me. And from Shelly, just approaching things from a posture of appreciation. The two things that I will definitely, there will be tapes replaying in my head throughout the day. So thank you both for that. And thank everybody for listening and taking some advice from us, I guess.
Thank you, Jill.
So
And
I'll just add that just keep in mind, as we're talking about moving forward, right? Just know that ability is a flame and creativity is a fire. Ability is a flame and creativity is a fire. So whatever you set your heart on will determine how you'll spend your life. And so with that, I just want to recognize my mom who is joining us. I want to recognize my niece who is also here, Suzanne Bozart from a women's ministry. Thank you for being here. And Margaret, our fearless leader, Somerset County Federation of Women in the house. So thank you all so much. Turn it back over to you, Lena.
thank you so much. Yes, we appreciate everybody that took the time to join us. I am going to let our chairwoman, Diane, I'll let her close out.
Hi everyone, my laptop stopped working. But in any rate, I am like, how was it? Good.
Awesome.
You're ready to. So like my main takeaway, always be able to count your blessings. And since this is our very first virtual event, I was wondering if we can take a picture of all of our participants. Is that okay? Turn on your cameras and then we'll take a picture.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna go 1, 2, 3, and then I'm going to capture. So 1, 2. Okay, all right, yes, y'all turning on y'all cameras. Look at that. Fabulous.
Thumbs up.
Nice.
Thank you all so much. This was such an amazing experience. You know, this is something that we've had in the works for a while, and we've been really shooting to make sure that we're able to connect with you all and put out great information. So I hope and I pray that this is just the beginning of an incredible journey that you all will continue to take with us. And, you know, please follow our Facebook. Like I said, make sure you come on our Facebook and put whatever nuggets you had, how you felt. If you enjoyed it, let us know so that we can continue to provide great information. So that is all, folks. Good night. Take care, everyone. Be safe, and we will see you next time. Please, please, please.
Thank you. Yes, we have Madam Tina, Surrogate Tina Jollo, Chair for the Somerset County Black Caucus, joining us. Thank you for being here.
How are you?
She's the candidate for surrogate. She's
Yes.
not surrogate yet.
I'm speaking it by faith. All right.
Chair of Somerset County.
And have a great night.